Hello everyone. Karen's asked me to create a video or try and tell you how to create an online conference through Canvas, which uses Big Blue Button. So as you can see, I'm on the home page of our Level 3 Extended Diploma in Health and Social Care. And the first thing that I do to create a conference is to go over to the left hand side and find conferences. I click on that and eventually you'll get up this page. As you can see, as I scroll, there's been a fair few. Unfortunately, I have to stay at home because I'm immunocompromised, so therefore as you can see, I've done a fair few of these health and social care conferences. Charmaine as well in Coleraine, she's been using this conference tool to be able to have a group face to face and teach another group online at the same time, which I think is pretty remarkable. But luckily I don't have to do that. I can just teach a whole group at one time through the conference. So as you can see, I'm on this page here and I'm pressing the conference button to add one, and you can see here that it says it's a big blue button. The duration might be 60 minutes, but I have a tendency to put no time limit there. This bit, the description, is very, very important because students need to be able to see which group is invited to this conference. So in this section I will put I'll put Coleraine maybe first. I have had the pleasure of teaching a couple of students from Newton Abbey and Ballymena right at the very beginning, because they weren't sure whether it was for them as well as the Coleraine students, so they popped up, but it was fine, it was grand. So I'd put Coleraine, say health studies here, and I would put maybe group, could be group 1, could be group 2, could be the whole group. Big Blue Button takes 24 students at a time. You have to remember that, because if you've got bigger groups above 24, then it won't work and you'll find that some students can't get on. So if you've got groups above 24, then it's best to create 2 separate conferences for them. So this is Coleraine Health Studies Group 1, and I will put please join the conference. Join the conference on 15th of October from 9 AM until 1 p.m, maybe not, 11 AM. It is useful to put a start time and a stop time, because I've found that students would prefer to know when it's going to end. So I always put a start and a stop. I usually put please press the join button when it appears, and I'll often have a pair of headphones ready. Apologies for my very slow typing. I'm not a typist. So I usually put this up. You put the date and the time the time it's going to finish, gives them something to aim for. And if you've never done this before, and students haven't done this before, please press the join button when it appears. And this is because you'll see in a wee minute that there is a start button, but the students won't see a join button until you press start yourself. As you can see down here, you can invite all course members. If I was to invite all course members, that would mean that I was inviting all the students from the whole of Northern Regional College in Health and Social Care, and you perhaps might not want to do this. So I usually press remove all course members and then press the invite all course members again. And it will come up with a list then of people that you can invite. I'm going to invite Mary, and let's invite Martin, and let's invite Sarah and Nadia. I think I'll invite those four just for this purposes here, and then press update and it will appear here. And at the same time as it appears here, it will send emails to all those people that you've invited. So I apologise greatly to Mary, Martin, Nadia and Sarah that you've now got an email from me inviting you to a health and social care conference that you perhaps don't really want to go to. So, and here it is. So on the day of the conference, the tip I'd have for you is to make sure you're prepped for it. You can lesson plan a conference call just as easy as you can lesson plan a face-to-face lesson in the college. So when it comes for the time to start the conference, you press start. It will say, how would you like to join the audio? And by the way, you've got to have a microphone for this. Headphones with a microphone on. So you press microphone and it's asking me, do I allow? Connects me to an echo test that you can probably hear in the background.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
And it says that. Now, so we've got to this screen here, and you can see here that you can do a variety of things within Big Blue Button. I'll try and take you through some of these things as we go along. But the first thing to note is you have a tool bar on the right hand side. If you press the hand, you can see here you've got a variety of tools. That gives you a text box that you can write into on the slides that come up. This is a pencil, and you can choose different colours here. I favour purple, and so you can then write on the slide if you did want to. So that is the toolbar on the right hand side, which you should see on my screen. You've also got another toolbar right at the bottom there, which is showing you a microphone. That just shows you, because it's pulsing, that is showing you that my microphone is working. I think the telephone icon is for perhaps meeting type of conference. I've never used that. You've got down here, whoops, a screen sharing button, which if I press there, it's going to show me, it's going to see, do I allow my camera? And I'm going to say yes. God love you, but you'll have me up there. Hello everybody. And you press start sharing here, and I should pop up here in a little minute. Here I am. So I'm sharing my webcam and I've got my audio on, and I have got here another icon, which means that if you press this, it will share your screen. So it will share your screen, whatever's behind here. So if you want to show students a particular website or whatever that you're looking at, or sometimes I've actually shown students the Canvas page that I worked on just to show them the resources that I put up on Canvas. However, for the sake of this recording, I am going to show you how to put a presentation up and see how that works. So on the left hand side here, you'll see a blue button with a cross on it, and it will say upload a presentation. So I am going to do that now. It just asks you to drag files here to upload, or I think you can, I'm wondering if you can upload or browse for files. There it is there. I tend to drag them, so I'm bringing up my pen drive here. There we go. But as it happens, I've just made this presentation now, so it's coming up on recent files. So I just drag this across and it will open for me. And I'm just going to show you this at some point as well. So I bring that. You can drag as many files as you want in this over the course of the few weeks. Obviously I've had the spec up here, and I've had an activity sheet maybe that I've created and I've put up here, and a presentation that I've put up here. So you then, you can see that I put up two things here, a presentation and something called shared notes, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And you just press upload and it will come up. It's actually going to come up as shared notes first, which I don't really want. There are my shared notes. Didn't really want those first. So I am going to go back and I am going to go to the PowerPoint and I'm going to press confirm, and there it is. So this is my PowerPoint that I am teaching from today. So let's have a look at some of the other features. You can see here that the PowerPoint just is the same usual way. You just press the next slide and so on. These buttons here, this button here with the arrows pointing out, just means that the presentation can be made full screen for your students, so they can actually press that and make it full screen if they don't want to look at me. There you go. The reason why I always put myself at the top of the screen is for something called teacher presence, so that they can see directly that I'm talking to them. It's as close as I can get to face, so they can see what I'm doing, and we can have some crack, as they like to say, as we're teaching with the presentation. So here we go. Actually, this emoticon here, which I'm going to point to, should have said it should have had a smiley face on it. I have no idea why it's changed, but now it's a palm tree in a deserted island, which is perhaps where I wish I was right now. But so usually there's I put this as my first slide in any presentation, just because I want my students to acknowledge that they're here. If I come across here and my cursor is now pointing to me, because I'm the only one in the conference, what will normally happen is when the students press join, all of their names will come below mine, and so I say to them, hello, welcome, please write a greeting in the chat box so I know you're here. The chat box is down here, so the students can write hello. They can write in there. Obviously in this case I'm writing to myself, but they do like to come in and they do like to say hello. Standard greeting in a classroom, really. And also you can use the chat box. I use it quite often throughout the class, and I'll say, can you give me a message in the chat box if you agree with that, for example. And I use this fairly often throughout the presentation, because at that point then I know that my students are engaging with me and they haven't just pressed join the conference and gone off to do something that they feel is better instead, like hashtag Netflix for a film or something. So engaging students using conferences on Big Blue Button via Canvas is very important, and there's lots of different ways that you can do that. So I'm about to show you one way now. This is something that I tried with my students last week. So I actually found this wee tip on a higher education forum, would you believe, and somebody had put colouring in for their higher education students to do. So I thought, if it's good enough for higher education, it's good enough for my level 3s. And what you can do, if you come back over to this toolbox here and press, you can turn, it says turn the multi-user whiteboard on, and you have to do this for every slide that comes up if you want them to use it. So if I turn it on, when I move across, you'll see my name appear. I've turned it on so actually all the other students that would be here with me normally in a conference could come over here and, bless their cotton socks, do some colouring in if they wanted to. And there you go, I'm sort of scribbling on that. It's I may have a bit of a bigger pen, and I might do a different colour. There you go, scribbling in. Now the reason why I did this was because I wanted my students to be socialised into being able to come over here into this into the presentation, and then so that they knew that they could, if I asked them to, they could choose a colour, and they could point to something maybe on my presentation or whatever it might be. So that's the reason why I did this as a starter. I got them to colour in. Now I have to tell you that one group of students absolutely did not like this. They didn't like the colouring in. They all did it, but they didn't like it. But the next group of students absolutely loved it. So you win some and you lose some. But that was just one of my starters. There's a myriad of starters that you can use in conference. Very similar to what you would do in a face-to-face class. If you would use a starter in a face-to-face class, there will be a way of using it in Big Blue Button. There's always a way. Okay. So we're going on to presenting information, and obviously I am here presenting some information to you using slides. I'll just show you how the text box works. I can type in hello everyone. And also, again, if you press the multi-user whiteboard on, then you can get your students then to use the text box, and then you could ask them a question. Or, for example, I used this for to ask them about values in care the other day. And I said, what are the values that people use in care? And they were able to put text boxes in, and they would have said something like dignity. Sorry, that's in big. Or they would have said, somebody else might have said respect. and so forth. So that was quite good. I think that worked very well. It also means that I'm engaging students doing that. I like to keep them on board and engage them as much as possible. So video content. You can use a video content. You can see that I've clicked onto a new tab here because I've forgotten to have this ready, which is very usual. Let's see, I hope I've got something that I might have used recently. Let's put, yes, I did in fact use this one recently, so I just click on it.
What is dimension?
YouTube. I copy the URL, go back to Big Blue Button. Hopefully I will have had that set up by then. Incidentally, that when the students are on conference, they can't see you using your tabs. They just see what you can see now, the teacher and the presentation. Unless you share your screen, they can't see that bit, but there you go. And then I would press here, and you can see here it says share an external video. So if I press that, paste in my URL, share a video.
What is dementia with Lewy bodies?
And you can see it just pops up here. Okay, and again, the students can make it full screen if they want to. So if you'd normally have a class where there was a bit of video content in there, then it's very easy to present that on Big Blue Button in Canvas. It's really easy to do. So that one's that one. So, but the only thing is, you have to remember that when the video is finished, you have to press this button again to get stop sharing external video. It can be from anywhere. The other thing about videos is that I wouldn't share very long ones in conference. Students don't tend to like longer videos, and maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Same thing as if you put videos on Canvas. They don't like very long ones. You won't hold their attention. Having said that, Angela Seaton and I showed our first year students a video that was 23 minutes long. But the way we got around that was we gave them a worksheet that they had to fill in while they were watching the video. So we engaged them that way, and it did work quite well. In fact, I think I'm going to show you how it worked in a wee while. So here we go. If you want to get rid of this is finished now. You press stop sharing the external video, and we're back to the presentation again. Whiteboard. To be fair, I've told you this already, that you click the whiteboard down here to make it so, and you can then click text to either text in yourself, just like you would a whiteboard. You can do it that way, or there's another way that you can create an online whiteboard. Hopefully it's up next. No, it's not. Of course it's not. Just to let you know that you can create group activities much the same way as you would in sorry guys, much the same way as you would in a normal classroom. You can create breakout rooms. It's a long time since I did breakout rooms. Yes, there you go. So over here, there's always this cog wheel here. I have used breakout rooms a couple of times, and they have been successful. So instead of making groups in a classroom and getting 3 people in one table and 4 people on another or whatever, you can press this button which says create breakout rooms, and you get this one. Now unfortunately I'm the only one in the breakout room, so it kind of won't work. I'll press create and I'm gonna have to, I can't really make this work, so I'm closing it. You need more than one to make a breakout session, but you can play with that. It's actually really easy once you've got all your students there. When you press the breakout rooms, all your students' name will come up and you can randomly assign them to group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, whatever it might be. And then you can give them an activity to do. For example, I think I did a breakout room with my health psychology lot. They were looking at factors that influenced a person's response to health and illness. So I had, say, 3 or 4 students in each breakout room, and I would have given group 1 cultural factors, group 2 environmental factors, group 3 social economic factors, group 4 I've got to think of it. I've lost it, but you get the idea. I think it is just lifestyle factors, I think it is. So I set them off into a breakout room, and you give them so many minutes. The breakout room will stop after the minutes that you've awarded it, maybe 15 minutes or so. And you may be wondering what would you do if they were in a breakout room, but you can actually go and see what the students are doing in the breakout room. They might think that they're doing it's all by themselves, but you can listen in and see what they're doing, and maybe prompt them if they're not quite going the right direction. I believe there might be a video on how to create breakout rooms on Canvas that the CIL team have put up. It is perhaps in that teaching online learning course. I did that a while ago, so it might well be in that, if you want any information on breakout rooms. Either that, or I'll have to create another video when I've actually got students in here. Oh. Sorry guys. Before we go into the polls, and I realise I've clicked on, but there you go. I want to share this feature with you, shared notes. This is the best thing since sliced bread. It is so good. And it is the thing that has revolutionised my teaching using Canvas conferences. And I now use this every single time. So if you press shared notes, you can ask a question. So you can ask a question up here. I usually bold these out. I'm going to show you a copy of my shared notes in one of my classes in a minute. I usually bold these out and then come down here. Now, to get your students to be able to write on shared notes, you have to press the little cogwheel again, and you go down to lock viewers, and this panel comes up, and you can see here that everything is actually allowed, and it says edit shared notes, but that is currently locked. So you press that and you apply, and what that means, you can see here it's going shared notes now enabled. And what that means is that students can then come over here and they can say advantages of online learning, and this is what they write. Well, this is what they wrote this week. quite often. That was usually my first response. A student would say, I can stay in bed. But they will start to think, and then one by one they will come on here. Now, when I was learning how to do this, the teacher that was teaching me actually had us writing our names and then put in an answer. So I can look at it from my kitchen table. You get the idea anyway. And the teacher would have us put our names first. I have since learned that the best thing with level 3 students anyway is to have them write this anonymously, which might sound a bit of a what can happen. I'll tell you in a minute what could happen. But I found over the course of the last few weeks that if I ask them to write anonymously, then I get great participation. So I'm going down here and I'm going to upload my shared notes. Bless my cotton socks. You can see exactly what I do in my class at any one time. And I'm going to bring it up big on the screen just so that you can see it. And again, I do that by pressing this button here with the arrows pointing outwards. Apologies for the notifications. It's popping up. Let's get rid of that. I'll bring it up and hopefully you can just about see this. We were watching the video, like I said, we were watching a 23-minute long video. Or I think this was actually, apologies, this was a small bit, it was a small case study I had up. I think this was a starter exercise. And I was asking them how the manager of a care home had a duty of care for these residents in the case study. Okay, so and as you can see, I had quite a good response. This was a first year group. They have took to this like a duck in water. They absolutely loved the shared notes. And then I was starting to ask them, well, if you were in an isolation room, what things would you want in your room? And then I asked them what is their parents' duty of care to. Obviously I was going forward because I wanted them to be able to look at the longer video and find out the duty of care to the resident in the longer video. So we started with this, and let's see if I can get on to the next bit. And here we go. Some of them actually, to my great delight, actually put things like basic needs. And so I mentioned Maslow to them and said that they could go and look up Maslow, and that they might have heard of Maslow from their lifespan unit. So I sort of tapped into that. And then they watched this 23-minute video that Angela and I had composed a table for. And afterwards, after the video, then I asked them the questions on the table. So did the staff uphold this resident's rights and protect her? And I asked them to explain it. And these were all the students' answers. And as you can see, they did have words like privacy and dignity, prioritizing, consent. So afterwards, I went and I bolded these out just so that they know they were quite important. We went on to talk about consent forms, the implications for Mildred. As you can see, she's dead, bless her, because the students, one of the criteria is they've got to write about the implications of a failure of a duty of care. So you can see here that they were, I could have perhaps, if I were to go back into that again, I could have perhaps prompted more out of that, but there you go. I asked them any recommendations, what they should have done. Did the staff ensure safe practice? Why not? Somebody put they don't care about their jobs. Maybe that is true. Implications, recommendations, again, They had 3 things that they had to scribble notes on the table about. So as you can see, I've asked this on the shared notes. Each one of these is a different student writing. Okay. So then I wanted to know, could they examine a case study and explain how a duty of care contributes to safe practice? For those of you that are doing Unit 7, Principles of Safe Practice, you will know that I asked them that because that is indeed the assignment. So I was sort of checking, that was a bit of assessment for learning there. I was checking to see if they thought that they could do that. And then right at the very end, I did my classic closure here, and I asked them to write 2 things they enjoyed about today's class, and you'll see here 1 thing that they didn't enjoy. And they didn't enjoy, the doctor in that video was a head fry. The long video, you can see this, not meeting me face to face, blah 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 blah. I'm quite pleased with the feedback I got on that class. Apparently I'm very funny, so there you are. And this is so that's shared notes, and you can see that the shared notes in that one class was quite good. But the benefits of the shared notes is that you can ask students questions here. You can funnel the answers, funnel the questions so that you can scaffold the learning. I'm not sure how brilliantly I did there. It was just the first one that I came to. But at the end of your session, you can press this button here, and it's a download the shared notes button. My students absolutely love this, and now they're so used to it. Every single session, one of the students reminds me, don't forget the shared notes, don't forget to put it on Canvas. So that's what we've begun to do. So we've begun to download it. I'll show you what it works. So I usually download a PDF, and it comes up like so. Bless, this might be a bit slow. And you can see, where will I? How to for Karen, I am. And then what I do is I save it as, I've learned to save it as group 1A shared notes. Always put the date on it, and possibly the time. If you have 2 different groups, well, you can put 2 different groups on it. I always put the date on it, otherwise I would not know what it went with. I'm still in the 1990s, obviously. And then you save that to wherever you want. And then rather wonderfully, as you can see, I'm just put back up again. Rather wonderfully, you can put that on Canvas. So in this way, this conferencing is actually almost better than face-to-face, because you've got here shared notes, which come back again. But you and this takes place of your whiteboard as well. So you can have the whiteboard with a slide, but I tend to use shared notes because the student response to these are very good indeed. Well, so far so good. Just a word of warning, I had a difficult class on Tuesday, and they suffered I had done quite a long conference, so my advice to you is not to do that, because the students do suffer from conference fatigue. I learnt this on Tuesday, and what was happening was they were using the shared notes to moan at me about, I'm tired now, and can we finish anytime soon, and such things like that, which, you know, in hindsight, although I'd built in quite a lot of comfort breaks into a conference, if you think it's going to be a long one, even after an hour is probably max, try and figure a comfort break in, maybe halfway through or something, even if it's just for 10 minutes, and they can get up, walk around, go into the garden, go and get a drink, whatever it might be. Even though I did that on Tuesday, they still got really fatigued, and so they they were moaning on my shared notes. So what you can do, if they do that, press the wee cog again, and you can lock this edit shared notes. So if they start to be, you know, sometimes they can be clever and start to joke about each other, that is actually a sign of fatigue. So that's what happened to me on Tuesday. But you can just lock them so that they can't get too silly on that. I'm just bringing up the last bit, otherwise you'll get conference fatigue listening to me. Very soon I'm going back to the presentation. And the last thing you can do is you can create a poll. So there are loads of polling software out there which you can actually use within Canvas conferences. You can use Mentimeter and you can use Kahoot, for instance, within Canvas conferences. I've chosen not to do that, otherwise it'll get a bit too messy perhaps. But I create a poll, and you just press the plus button again, you say start a poll, and it will give you an option. Now I'm going to press ABC. This is one I actually did today, but you have to be prepared for that poll, so that you have to have a slide with your question on it. And then, as you can see, this was my conference poll today. After Tuesday, I wanted to just check with the students their preference, hashtag student voice and all that. So I said, for online learning, do you prefer a 1 to 2 hour conference followed by individual work or independent research? I said, would they prefer B, a whole day conference, or would they prefer C, working independently using the information on Canvas with a worksheet? They then, your students' names will come up here. You will be able to see who presses A, B or C. If one of them hasn't replied, you can say, Jessica, just press the one that you think is closer to what you feel, you know. None of the rest can see that it's you that's pressed that button, this kind of thing. And eventually you'll get a percentage, and just for your own information, I'll tell you the percentage of what I got today. This was just 2 groups of students, and I had about 14 in the first group and I had about 13 in the second group. And I asked them this at the end. This was my closure, if you like, just for this day. There's, as you can see from the shared notes, there's lots of different closures you can do too. This was my one today. And just so that you know, I got 80% preferred a 1 to 2 hour conference followed by individual work. So you could perhaps do a 1 hour conference followed by some work, some independent research that they've got to do via Canvas or something you've put on a Canvas page, or you can flip it using these conferences. So you could assign them to read a bit of the book chapter and then do a conference straight after, so you can flip it like that. 80% of them preferred that way, excuse me. Interestingly, 20% preferred working independently using the information on Canvas with a worksheet. That surprised me. I didn't think that that was going to be the case. I didn't think many people would put that. Certainly nobody voted for a whole day conference, so I've learnt that lesson. So I tend now, because I have 3 units with one group and 3 units with another group, I tend to now use both, a bit of both. This is called hybrid teaching or hybrid learning. We've sort of moved on a bit from blended learning. Those of you that have just done the blended learning course, in Stranmillis will laugh at me when I say it's now hybrid learning, but it is really. And so I try to do a bit of A and a bit of C now. And I use Canvas quite well, and sometimes I dare I say I lesson plan Canvas as well, so that they can navigate easily through Canvas and complete maybe a worksheet or something that I've put up there. So there you go, folks. That is my how to use Big Button Canvas excuse me, in Canvas, and how to set up a Canvas conference. Apologies, I've literally just been asked to do this video, so sometimes if I do a video I will have a script or something to remind me. This one I've done off the top of my head, so if I've gone on and on or whatever, then apologies. Last thing, very important, is if you go up to the right hand side, there are 3 dots, one below each other. I think there was one more slide, so thank you for listening, bless your cotton socks. But go up to these 3 dots and you will find options. So if you press that when everybody's gone, and they like the chat box, so sometimes I get them to do bits on chat, sometimes I get them to do bits on shared notes. As you can see, I sometimes get them to do stuff in the presentation as well, and that's all about keeping them engaged. Otherwise, if they were having to listen to me like you're having to listen to me now, you'd get bored very quickly, and I'm sure some of you have actually turned me off ages ago, but that's fine. But here you can see it says end meeting, asks you to end the meeting, say yes please, always asks you to give feedback, so I'm giving it 5 stars because I quite like Big Blue Button, and I'm back here again. The other thing to note is when you've finished a conference, please press end, otherwise they go on and on and on. And you press end, it says, are you sure you want to do this? You say yes please, thank you very much, and it appears here and you can see that I've ended that conference. So I'm just going to, I'm trying to get my so that's it, folks. Oops. Oh dear, where's it gone?